Welcome to the first season of conventioNOT, an assembly of thoughts between Mike and Ryan and our guests, who are also in pursuit of happiness and have found a little bit of success along the way. We don't take ourselves too seriously, and we hope you'll stick around for a while. You can find this on any of the major podcast networks, including Apple and Google Play. Please subscribe.
What do you got in the 2019 brackets? What's your
I don't
thing?
fill them out. I stopped doing it. I had to. Betting.
Too much anger?
Yeah, mainly anger and disappointment. Like betting in sports, the only way sports gets worse for me is if I lose money on them. Like sports is just a grueling experience for me. When my teams win, I'm content. When they lose, I'm miserable. So every year, March Madness is time for me to remember how much I love the Spartans and then be extremely disappointed when they let me down. So
They might not let you down this year.
you know what? They've very much exceeded my expectations to date. Izzo is a master. Cassius is king. If this team makes it to the grade 8, I'll be super happy. I think so, yeah. I think Michigan is in North Carolina's bracket, and they purposely set up North Carolina and Duke on opposite ends.
They always do that, right?
Double check it, though. The idea of Michigan State versus Michigan in the national championship, I could go throw up right now just thinking about how nauseous and gut-wrenching that would be.
Why?
I can't handle it. It's so stressful, dude. Because this is what happens. When I watch Michigan State, they don't play well. Then I turn the game off and they start to play well. I don't know how. My fanhood dictates their success. So
Seems logical.
Second game, at halftime, I fucking turned it off. I'm like, I can't. I'm sick to my stomach. I'm all upset. It's the middle of the day. Oh, yeah, dude, I turned it off.
They played so well. We'll see what happens. I think we look solid. You were talking about the Michigan games, the tournament games that we've played in. Different story. I might eat my words because it's only the Sweet 16, but I do think that they have a good team this year. And I think they're pretty mature compared to some of the other teams that have really good young players. So we'll see how that
funny
stacks
was
out.
that last week, how upset everyone was at Izzo for yelling at Henry.
The kid missed a dunk and he made a stupid foul.
And
I don't
he's
think that
slacking
was
on D. Like, I honestly was just like,
that's the trifecta. It was a little mild, I thought.
what's happening in this world where like a coach yelling at a player is worth talking about? Like, have you guys ever played sports? That's what coaches do. They fucking scream all the time. Like, I mean,
I don't coach my kids that way.
Ryan, how old are the kids you're coaching?
12 to 14.
12 to 14-year-olds versus college-age kids.
I coach against coaches that slam the clipboard and
Well,
shit.
those are assholes. I'm not saying it's okay to be that psycho. Dude, if you are slamming a clipboard in 12, 13, and 14-year-old, I mean, I don't care if it's the most fucking competitive league in the world. It doesn't matter. There's no need for that. In college, yelling at a player to get a message across, like, it's not a fucking child. It's a 19-year-old man.
Agreed. There's a culture. What I was working towards is there's a culture at your college that you choose to play for as a man. That's like the point, right? High school a bit, but you're right. You pick a program to go to. He's 19. He's a freshman. Tom Izzo's been coaching basketball like that a lot longer than we've had 24-hour news even. So it's –
I think also people need to appreciate the difference. We're not talking about like the context of being yelled at in the middle of a sporting event, right? Like everything is yelling. That's communication. It's screaming and yelling because the emotions and the stress are at such a high level. It's not the same as being yelled at in a boardroom or being yelled at by some random dude on the street, right? Like that's very, very different scenario. And I'm afraid that some people just don't get what is that old white man yelling at that young black man for? Come on, people. It's fucking coaching and a player in the middle of a game. That's all it is. Chill out. Look, I got a new razor. It's a little tighter than the last one, I think.
looking good, dude.
And like, I don't know if you remember, but like, you know how the trimmer that your barber uses, right? It's like, you can imagine that thing weighs like 5 pounds. You know what I mean? Like it's real steel and it's well built. Obviously, that's a commercial trimmer. I just got a fucking Wahl trimmer, Wahl, on the recommendation of one of my buddies who said he's had one for like 6 years. Dude, I paid $40 for it. It's like one of the, just certain shit you own. You're like, this is quality.
You know.
Exactly. This thing, dude, I turned it on the first time and it was just like, and it was heavy. And I was just like, I bet this fucking thing is made in America. Probably not, but you know what I mean. Hashtag Wahl, bro.
So I couldn't grow a beard until I was about 32, 33.
What do you mean you couldn't grow a beard?
I couldn't do it.
I mean, stuff grew. It just, what? It was patchy?
Patchy and not thick enough.
Really?
Really, yeah.
Why does something change in your 30s? I don't understand that.
I don't know. To be certain, I'm not sure. I think maybe part of it was I had enough time to give a go at it. It became a time where having a beard, we talked about this in a previous episode, where having a beard was cool enough. And so I made a go at it when I got sick of shaving and I was on the road a lot. And so I'm on my second.
You gave it that full on month or whatever that you had probably never fully given it.
That's right.
You got to get past that weird stage.
You do. And then 1 year, I would say it's 2017, I let it go for 6 months without touching it. The real thing that made the difference for me was I had to not touch it for 6 years.
For that long?
6 months, sorry. And it grew in long enough. I took it home over Christmas and, spent some time and got it.
How thick was it after 6 months?
It was thick. It was long. I would say it was about a 5 on the wall guard.
So like
3 fingers.
And sure. A couple inches on what I got going right now.
A little bit longer than what you got going right now. Yeah.
Gotcha.
And so now I actually haven't shaved my beard since I could grow a beard.
What do you mean? That's just, how long is that going for?
I'd say 4 years now. I haven't had a clean shaven face in 4 years, to the dismay of my grandmother.
Dude, once you do, I don't know how people mess around with going back down to the skin. Like, I honestly, if I were to shave down to my skin, I think there'd be a serious reaction.
I agree. I have some adult acne issues. Matter of fact, I was in Dallas this week, and I had something weird happen with my face, even still.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. I mean, sorry, not like it's that tragic, but I mean, you never had acne when you were younger. It's easier to have it when you're old and married.
Not that much at all.
Yeah, I don't remember. All I remember is your just beautifully clean face.
Well, I did. I thought a lot about Dan in our previous episode talked about how easy it was to get out of trouble being kind of clean cut and able to look somebody in the eye. And fortunately, I didn't have as much trouble as he did when he described in the episode, but I certainly had a baby face for those years.
Being a 6+ foot, white, articulate, good looking dude, it's a lot easier to apologize and get out of shit.
Yeah.
Something we'll never fully grasp or appreciate,
Right, exactly. I don't know that I identify so much with white guilt like I see a lot of people talk about on the left part of the news. But what I will say is that part of my beard, for sure, here in Atlanta, is not to appear like all the other white dudes.
Yeah. Well, which is kind of funny, right? That's like a little ironic, right? I mean, because aren't beards probably more popular now than they ever have been? But I hear what you're saying, right? I don't know. I never consider it a mask or anything like that. Not to get all beardy again, but in terms of just being able to kind of look a little different, I guess. I mean, that I've lived in a couple places now where that phrase "white guilt," it's such a strong, gnarly phrase. I know what it means, and I know those feelings because I've unfortunately lived in a couple of places where, my last place of residence was a foreign country in Canada, in Toronto, where being white wasn't as much the issue as being an American was something that raised a lot of questions. And so I didn't always go out of my way to really identify with being super white. I know that sounds weird, but
That makes
to me,
sense.
I thought even having a beard, because I worked in a kind of corporate world, I thought having a beard made me look a little less clean cut. So blend in that way. And then I moved to Hawaii, man, and that term white guilt actually has some frame of reference here. And I really don't like to use it. I think it's such an ugly thing, but I've never lived somewhere where I was legitimately a minority and that my race had such a strong impact previously, and people that look like me inhabit a large part of these islands, and are very different than me, i.e. we get tourists and military contingent here on the islands, and not generalizing or being anti anything, but when you live somewhere and you're part of a community, military personnel and tourists are kind of ultimately transient, right? I mean, not that we don't have a large sector of people that have settled down here post-military experience, but a lot of the guys that are in their 30s, white dudes with shaved heads, living here are military. And to bring it full circle,
Yeah.
they don't have beards. So it's the only way I don't get every time I friggin' buy something, someone asks me, oh, military discount? Military discount? I'm always like, no, man, charge me the full price. Charge me the full price.
What does it take to get one of those Samoan tattoos? I'm curious about that, and I'm curious about the respect that it takes. Do you know anything about that?
I'll just say that I don't know enough to talk about it, but there's a very big difference between. So my understanding is it's more Polynesia. So, those islands in that part of the world. And those tattoos are very much like an earned thing. And the process is old school.
Tap, tap,
A
tap,
little
tap,
bit
tap.
I've ever seen about it is basically that at a young age, you start to get them on your lower extremities. And as you get older, they continue to extend up your body. So when you actually see someone who has it extending up their neck and onto their scalp, that means their whole body's done. That means from the back of their thighs up to the top of their head is done. And I don't think that's a trivial accomplishment by any means. You know what? It's something I would love to know more about, and actually, like, I'm right here and could learn a lot more about it, because I would love to find out the difference between today's kind of mainstream tattoo. Because, I mean, I don't know. I'm sure I could go to a tattoo artist and get him to do that to me. Right? Like, not
I always
knowing.
understood that it's a little bit not disrespectful, but most tattoo artists have a creed, from my understanding. I've had tattoos from 3 different artists. I have a few.
I would love to know that, though. Like, I'm sure there's a creed, but
Yeah.
for $5,000, you won't put a bunch of triangles on me?
Right. True.
If I don't tell anyone where I got it done? I hate that, what kind of asshole would want to walk around with those tattoos if he didn't earn them? But
Yeah.
I don't know. There's assholes everywhere.
I've got a new one. I've got the bug lately. I need to make a trip.
Seriously? What, you got 3 tattoos, you said?
Oh, more than that. 3 different artists. I got like 5.
I don't have a single tattoo.
You're a very conservative gentleman, Mike.
No, you know what? I think it's more about being private and like commitment. There's only like a couple, and I honestly, I wouldn't want to get my fucking name tattooed on me. Like, I'm not sure I'm gonna stick with this one at this point. Nicole's the only thing I'm really. Nicole and Whaler are the only things I'm sure about, and I don't know, a tattoo of man.
It's just not right. It's not right.
I've never had any inclination.